Welcome to the yet another very interesting and very important topic in Excel on absolute and relative cell referencing. In other words, it would also highlight the importance of freezing the cells. Now, just to take an example in a context, I have taken up a data from a fruit vendor shop wherein this data range reflects the number of fruits that were sold on each day in a week. So 145 is the number of apples that were sold on Monday, 145, 149 on Tuesday, so on and so forth. Now, if we wanted to get the total number of fruits that were sold on Monday, we could simply use the AutoSum function and get the number of fruits that were sold on each day. And now what I want to highlight is that when we gave the reference, when we give the formula in column B, the selected cells were B5 to B6, and then we copied this formula to column C. B5 and B6 became C5 and C6. So the idea is that whenever we copy a formula, it would relatively move the cell reference. However, there might be a situation wherein we might want this not to happen, and that is where there's a need to require to freeze the cells. Say for example, what we wanted here further is to get the sales of apples and mangoes over each of the days. So going on Monday, we could say that the sales would be 145 into the price for each apple and enter. We could do this, copy the formula and take it down for the mangoes. So we see that the cells relatively move. The D1 becomes D2, the B5 becomes B6. However, if we wanted to get the sales for all the other days in the week, we would see that we get it to be 0, and that is essentially because Excel also moved D1 to E1. Now, in order to get our answers correct, what we want is the column D to be frozen, and whenever the cells are copied horizontally, we do not want D to move into F, G, H, so on and so forth. Therefore, that is where when we use the cell referencing and freezing the cells. So here I go back to this where we initially gave the formula. So the idea is to freeze D. So by pressing the function key F4 and it's a toggle key, the first time that I press it, I would see that the default would give me the $ before the row and the column, which essentially means that the cell is frozen. Now the problem is that we do not want D to become E or F or G, but we do want when the formula is being copied vertically to move 1 to 2. D1 to become D2 when I drag it down, because right now since we have frozen the cell, the row 1 is also frozen, and that is not what our desired result is. And therefore I press the F4 function once again. So now 1, that's the row, is frozen but the column isn't, and that is not what we want. I press the F4 function once again. Now it freezes the D, that's the column but not the row. Now that is what we want, but just to take you through, pressing a F4 once again would unfreeze both the rows and the columns. Pressing it once again would freeze both of them, the row, the column, and that is what we want. And now when we copy and drag the formula, I would get my desired results. Hope you enjoyed watching the video.